Oscar's Childhood, episode 22. Welcome, Carrots here. We're going to have a good look around town. I found this world on the Sims 3 Exchange. It's by Reflong7. If you want to download it for yourself, I'd suggest you go to the Exchange and type in the keyword of Moonfall, Moonfall. The lots are there, but they're mostly empty lots. So all of the buildings, or almost all of the buildings in the world that I'm using, I've placed myself. And I don't think there's any Sims in it either. So they're all my Sims, or Sims that the game generates as it runs. I've marked where I've placed the boarding school and where you can find the Steel Home and Crimson's Place. They're both empty lots when you get the island, and they're very steeply sloping lots. That's why I took advantage of them to practice building a multi-story house into the side of a hill with all three of these builds. The Crimson's house came first, then I did the Steel house, and then I did the boarding school. And then I went and did my tutorial on how to build a multi-story house into the side of a hill, which you will find in my channel in the playlist on tutorials. To help you realise how things are set out in the world, this is a closer look at the main part of the town. You can see the greenhouses at the top. That's the closest one to the boarding school, which is just up the road there. And there's the fishing spot where you see the children fishing, is just in around that area there somewhere. The alfresco market is where I've marked it on the right hand side. And there's the festival grounds up top near the greenhouse and next to the library and the fishing spot. City Hall is a castle that I found in build mode, so I added it. It is a City Hall rabbit hole, and the stadium is where Eric is going to go shortly to get into the professional sports career. The blue building is another one of my own builds, and that's where they go shopping occasionally for things to put into the house. There is another one of mine just above where I've got the words to festival grounds. There's a green lot there, which is the other Savvy Seller store that I built called Carter's Corner Store. They're both in my studio in the Sims 3 Exchange. You can see the school where I've placed the school and the butterfly pavilion as well. The hospital and science centre is a combined rabbit hole near the stadium. And finally, just so you can see exactly where the boarding school is in relation to the town, see the greenhouse in the middle to the right, boarding school at the top left, that road just goes straight through. The gypsy caravan there is just near the boarding school. Carter's Corner Store is at the bottom of the screen. And the base camp's just above the greenhouse. There's other taverns and things there as well. And now we will get into the story. And here is Oscar having a story read to him by Erica. So I've locked the children out of these big bedrooms. I must have missed this one. I have to fix that as soon as the story has finished being read. After school the next day, the children go down to the river to go fishing. I haven't found very many fishing spots yet, but this one isn't very far from home. That's Oscar and Petal and Suzanne. They're fishing at the moment. Petal was already at the Moonfall Island boarding school when the travellers from Chocolate Cake Island arrived. Most of the Sims in this world are Sims that I have made at some stage, and most of them are fairly new Sims that I've hardly played or not played at all. But there are a few old ones as well. And there's not many townies that I've brought from other worlds. The main one I can think of at the moment is Gaylord Coffee, who is a ghost in Sunset Valley. He's Gobias Coffee's father. Now, Gobias has already died of old age in this save, but his father's been brought back to life as an adult, so there you go. Erica Wolf doing her gardening in her small garden. She's in the gardening career at the moment, but when she gets to level 10, which she almost is, I will let her join the professional athletic career because she wants to get to level 9 in that career for her lifetime wish. Harvey Miller's just finished work at the Gypsy Caravan. He's a horoscope reader. His lifetime wish is to become a celebrity psychic, which requires him to get to level 10 in the fortune-telling career scam artist branch. He's only at level 1 at the moment. Because of his lifetime wish, I've allowed Harvey to stay in the fortune-telling career, but I've pulled all the other Sims that were in that career out of it and given them other jobs. There's 3 rabbit holes in this supernatural park that I built. The Gypsy Caravan, the Arboretum, and the Vault of Antiquity. And at the back of the Vault of Antiquity, I placed the Fountain of Youth that came with the world Hidden Springs. Now Harvey just went and had a little drink out of the Fountain of Youth, and he got himself a day younger. It only gives you 1 day at a time. I've noticed with the Fountain of Youth, I've got it placed in a few different lots now that I've got on the exchange, and I've discovered that when you first place it into a world, you need to go into that lot, build buy mode, and replace the fountain. Now I came across this pair I heard the noises actually, they're growling at each other, and I don't know what started it off, but they're certainly not happy with each other. That is Erica Wolf, the werewolf, and it's Kaylee Flower, the fairy. Either of them could do damage of different sorts to the other. So fortunately they're restricting their altercations to sort of growls. And now here comes Gator, the little werewolf. Is coming to diffuse the situation between his mother Erica and their housemate Kaylee Flower, the fairy. The interaction between Kaylee and Erica was something I don't remember seeing before, but I've seen it since then with other Sims in this household. So maybe it's just something that I've not noticed previously. So Erica's going to sit and read a book while Gator plays with his imaginary friend. Kaylee heads off upstairs to do whatever Kaylee's decided to do. Now this interaction was interesting. I saw the baby girl in his thought bubble. After watching them for a while, I came to the conclusion that they're playing some sort of guessing game. Looks like Coral Carpenter has to guess what Gaylord is thinking. After having their guessing game, they went downstairs. So this is a second bottom basement, slightly bigger than the very bottom basement. The bottom basement's just big enough to hold the group science project and the staircases and a little bit of extra so I'd have room to film them when they were using the group science project. This room is a slightly longer in one direction than the other, and I've put their exercise equipment down here. I'm not planning on making the two bottom basements any bigger than they are at the moment. I'm trying to restrict the amount of things I've got in this boarding school. I don't want it lagging like the Chocolate Cake Island boarding school was. Never watched a sim playing with this thing before. I mean, I've seen them use it, but not somebody pulling themselves up and then falling on the floor all the time. Down around the corner there behind it, there's a treadmill and a weights machine and I don't know what else. Just general exercise equipment. I thought I'd put them all-in-one bathroom down here as well. I've gone into all-in-one bathrooms in this boarding school. I don't think I've got any bathrooms that I've set up and built as a separate room. I've let Bonehilda get out of her coffin in this boarding school. She was in the Chocolate Cake Island boarding school as well, but I kept her locked up in her coffin. The coffin, if you don't know, is in the place where you find the alarms in the kitchen in buy mode. Bonehilda is a very good burglar alarm, apparently. The other problem with Bonehilda is some Sims are cowards, and if they've got the coward trait and they see Bonehilda, they will run away fast. And Eric has the coward trait. So if you see Bonehilda and Eric in the same room and then Eric suddenly starts running, you'll know why. He's spotted a walking skeleton and he's frightened of it. There's a hopscotch court outside. Bonehilda happens to be addicted to playing hopscotch. When she's not teaching dogs how to do tricks, she'll be playing hopscotch non-stop. We don't have any dogs here. If you've got Bonehilda in your game and a dog, you need to be careful because she'll keep the dog learning to do tricks all day and all night without any break. Poor puppies. The Coral's come up from her exercise, put all the weight back on by eating whatever she just got out of the fridge. Nothing like exercising crazily in the hope of losing some weight to then immediately have a big meal afterwards. But she's chosen a salad, so it looks maybe she'll be okay. Bonehilda also repairs things, and I saw her get singed once, a year or so ago, in one of my earlier games, and she had skin and full body just like the other Sims. So since she was singed at that time, I tried to see what would happen if she got singed again, but she did get singed again, but nothing happened. I suppose it'd be a bit hard for Grim Reaper to come and take Bonehilda away. Eloise is cooking something in the oven. Cooking does two things. One, it gives them more cooking skill, and the other thing it does is it puts leftovers in the fridge so that there's always something for the children and teens to eat when they come in hungry. Just got to make sure it goes into the fridge rather than just sitting on the bench where it will rapidly attract flies and become not edible. There's Wilhelmina having something to eat. She's going to age up shortly. She's about to become a teen. Coral must be tired. They go down into the wishing well to wish for things when they're tired, such as usually happiness, but looks like she wished for power that time. And she's having another wish. Oh, she got happiness that time. Another wish. She'll be all wished out soon. Hope so anyway. Costs her a simoleon every time she does a wish. No, didn't get that one. She can do some fishing now. Build up some fishing skill. I think she's in a sleepwear. I'm not sure what that outfit's supposed to be. Eloise eating a fruit from the tree of prosperity. I guess she's just got another skill. She might need to go have a sleep. That's Harvey with Wilhelmina and Erica on the ground floor. Now, Isabel wants to get to the level 10 in the magician career, and she had to go to Performance Park to meet up with the proprietor there to see if she could join the magician's career. And I didn't like the name she was offered, so I changed it to Bella the Brilliant. I usually accept whatever name is offered, but this time I didn't. The blonde in the brown shorts is Estelle Erickson. She's supposed to be a mermaid. She's based on Ella Erickson, an old sim that I made back in June 2009. Didn't change her much. I just basically turned her into a mermaid and gave her a new name. And now she's lost a mermaid occult, so she might as well still be Ella, but she's Estelle. The blonde in the background with the red legs, that's Cheryl Grant. She's one of my sims that I've turned into a mermaid, and it looks like she's still got her scales. And the blonde in the front with the pink shirt on, she is one of the sculptors. Her name is June Joyce, and she's evil. The others are Maureen Murray, Marge Martin, Stan Steptoe, and Fred Martin. They're all living in this world. If you've been watching the McFluff story, you will have seen them in action in Hidden Springs at Gertie's place. They all jumped through the time machine and vanished, and they've turned up here. The thing that they do really well is sculpt. And between the 5 of them, they can sculpt every single sculpture that is available in the Ambitions expansion pack. And when they sculpt in ice, their ice sculptures never melt. And I like to play with lights when they've made some ice sculptures. Now after that little diversion, let's go back to Performance Park. That's Estelle. Now that sim sitting on the bench next to the proprietor is George Flower, and he is supposed to be a fairy mermaid. His housemate is Cheryl Grant, who is the blonde with the red legs who's gone up onto the stage. The toddler Gavin was made as a clone of George when he was living in the Colourful Mermaids household. We've got a burglar turned up by the look of it. The sim with the top hat on, that's Bo Stallings. He was the butler that the Colourful Mermaids household hired, but he was completely useless as a butler, so I added him to the household. And Estelle was one of the Colourful Mermaids, and so was George. You can see him there with his fairy wings. Most of the mermaids from the Colourful Mermaids household are in this world. There's George and Cheryl. Her romantic interest is Triton King. There is a toddler in their household, but he is a clone that was made in the Colourful Mermaids household, and the clone is of George. 3 toddlers in this world. If you'd like me to add them to the boarding school, let me know in the comments section. I'm thinking of adding them, and then I'm thinking of not adding them. Can't quite make up my mind. 2 of them are mermaids. They're clones of Mia Azul and Salty Seaworth, and the 3rd is the clone of George. He's a fairy, little Gavin. The other 2 toddler clones live with Mia Azul. They are on the beach. Triton King and Maya Ocean are both living in this world as well. But Salty Seaworth's in a different world. I think he's in Cake Island. And the clones of Salty and Mia Azul are living in the house with Mia Azul and a few other sims. But their beach house is between the houses where the boarding school is and where the Steele family live. That sim there with the military uniform on that just sat down in the background, she is one of the sculptors as well, Marge Murray. I made a whole lot of other sculptors, but I just picked this 5 as a single household because between them they could make all of the sculptures. The 3 Sims on the right, the burglar, the one in the red shirt, the guy with the hat on sitting down, and also the proprietor. They're all Sims that were introduced by the game, but all of the other Sims are Sims I've made and added. There goes Suki Seaworth running past. She's another one that was supposed to be a mermaid but has lost her scales. She actually lived with Oscar's family for a little while in Irwin, but she moved out. And another mermaid moved in. Wonder if she remembers Oscar. I don't think Oscar will remember her. He was very young. Back at home at the boarding school, Gaylord is heading off to work in the music career. He's still at level 1, just a fan. Oscar's father used to be in the music career, and Oscar's going to join it one day too. He wants to be a rock star. The bus is collecting the children after their excursion to the science facility. Science facility and hospital is a combined rabbit hole. Dan and Bonnie Steele have turned up at the park, and Matthew Rudd is standing there. He is supposed to be a mermaid as well. And actually later on I noticed he got his scales back, so maybe the game is going to fix the problem of the mermaids losing their scales. We'll see what happens. Now Bailey Swain had a wish to learn the martial arts skill, but there was no martial arts equipment in the boarding school. But I knew that you could buy all sorts of sporting equipment, including the martial arts objects at the Blue Building, now this Blue Building is something I built, and it's in my studio on the Sims 3 Exchange. Bailey bought that glove chair as well. So she had quite a good time here, spending up big. The blue flooring, they're all Savicella mats. So anything that's on the blue mats, she can just buy by waving her arm at it. It's easier than using the cash register because the cash register lists every object in the building, which gets the list is extremely long. So she can just walk around and wave her arm at whatever she wants to buy. That's animation. She is a sim that I used to use as a travelling sim and probably will again. She's another one that I made quite a few years ago. I think she's a witch. That's what happens when you've got all sorts of things that sims can use. They will come in and use the facilities. That's actually things you've got there to buy. That includes the toilets and the showers and whatever else you might have in the building. That is a bar through there where the sims like to gather. They can buy food. That's a professional bar. They can buy food and they can drink and they can dance, socialise. There's a jukebox and a dance floor there as well. I've had to put an ordinary door on it because they like to come in here after the rest of the building is closed for business for the day. That is Crimson, bright pink fairy wings that just went into the bar. She lives next door to the Steele family in one of those houses that I built onto the side of the hill. She's got a big house, but she lives there by herself. She's the only one of my sims in the room at the moment. The rest are all sims the game has manufactured. I'm not controlling her, so she's just turned up, must be hungry and wants a meal. This is the reason I put her in this game, so she could just be really obvious but just wander around and do things all by herself, whatever she wants to do. Bailey has found herself a seat in one of the foyers and she's doing her homework. The shops are still open. You see the green sign on the door? When the shops close, those green signs go red. There's a lot of different little shops in this building, and this is the foyer that's always open. That's a food merchant you just saw briefly from behind. So anything in the foyer areas the sims can access 24 hours a day, and they do, and they can access this bar as well. But the rest of the shops in the building will close in the evening and they'll open again next morning. There's Bailey. I thought she'd gone out, but she's gone into the nursery. This is a shop set up to sell nursery furniture. It can be a good building to have if you know something is in here to buy. It saves you having to search through buy mode. You can just come to the shop, and I've just put a whole lot of random things in there. You will only have what you own in there if you download this and add it to your game. The game will replace any items that I've put in there that you don't own with something that you do own. And you can clear all those things out and make your own ideas up for shops. The Carter's Corner store is similar design, and it's got another whole lot of different shops in it as well. There's Gator playing catch with Kaylee Flower at the boarding school. They're getting to know each other and becoming friends. Now Gator is interesting to me because he wants to be very popular. He wants to have 20 friends, and I have never achieved that lifetime wish, and he is currently 2 friends short of achieving his lifetime wish. That's one of the benefits of being at the boarding school and going as a toddler, going through all of those playpens, making friends with the other toddlers. And when they go to school, I get them to talk to friends, so they make friends at school as well. I've got these 2 sculpting stations set up here. Sims keep coming here and doing it autonomously. Just off screen to the left there is a science machine, and Gaylord is a technophobe, and he constantly is trying to sabotage it. So what I'm about to do is I'm going to build a room in this corner where I can lock the door so he can't get at the science machine, and I'll put all the technology objects into that room so they're safe from his attacks, because it's really annoying having to keep fixing the science machine. We'll come back later and see those, whatever they've managed to sculpt. See, this is Bonehilda. She'll just play hopscotch all night and all day too. So that's a bar stool that was sculpted on the left. I think that might have been Erica. Of course, the ice sculptures that Eric is making at the moment will all melt because he hasn't done 25 of them. They've got to do 25 ice sculptures before they can have them that don't melt. But it's good to sell them at this point, but of course I forgot to sell them, so we ended up with little puddles. But they're worth a lot of simoleons if you sell them, like about 2,000 simoleons for a little ice sculpture. That's just going to melt if you keep it. That looks like a coffee table. Good on you, Eric. Now go write a book. You've got to finish your writing skill. He's got to get his lifetime wish. He's up at level 9 with writing. When he gets to level 10, he'll have his lifetime wish. There's an alien who's been visiting. We didn't even notice, but it's taking off now, making an escape. Can we see inside the spaceship? Put it on pause and investigate. That looks a bit like a Garfield cap stuck to the windscreen there, the bubble at the back. You can just barely see it. I spy an alien sitting in the cockpit. Better take it off pause. Goodbye, alien. I guess we'll see you again at some point. A bit later on, and the sun is up, and Bonehilda's still playing hopscotch. But this time she's got somebody to help her. Oscar's found her, and he and Bonehilda are competing. And I think Oscar wins this game of hopscotch. And then he heads off to get ready for school. Leaves Bonehilda with the hopscotch. Looks like she's going to go away too, and maybe she's going to help them get ready for school. Gaylord appears to be addicted to playing pool, and he's got a long-standing high-value wish to have a 4-player game. At the moment he's trying a trick shot with a toddler's xylophone. He has quite a few goes, but he does eventually succeed in getting his ball to play a little tune on the xylophone. Well done, Gaylord. I see Gaylord's wearing his career outfit. He's level 1 in the music career. And Bonehilda's gone back to playing hopscotch. The children are all heading off to school. The bus is just out the front picking them up at the moment. Gaylord got caught in the act of trying to sabotage the science machine, decided to cover his shame by agreeing to play a game of kicky ball with Erica, who's very good at it. Gaylord is not quite so good, but he's not too bad. He's trying to display his skills to his best of his ability. We're going to have that room built soon. He won't be able to get at the science machine to sabotage it soon. They're both having a pretty good game of kicky ball. Erica goes down and does a bit of quick maintenance on the garden. She's just about finished her gardening career. We're going to get her out of it now. She's got to level 10 in the gardening skill. It's just about time she joined the athletic career so she can get her lifetime wish completed before going back to Moonlit Falls with her children. And it's after school time now, and Petal's gone home with Barbara Steele. And there they are sitting together on the floor in the Steele household doing their homework. And here's Donna coming home, going up the steps. Here comes their mother, Bonnie. She is in the science career. She's level 10 and her role now is mad scientist. Give Barbara a hug. That's Big Greg. You can all sit down near the piano and do our homework. Of course, when you're inside an unplayed household where the only sim you are able to control is one of the children who's visiting, anything can happen. And there's Berry Bombay. She's the witch who was playing water balloon fights with Oscar in the previous episode at the school. And here is Dan Steele. He's just arriving home. He's the father of the Steele children in this household. And of course this household, they're old sims from a game I was playing back in 2011 or earlier. And Berry, the witch, who's just standing there in a bikini of all things, she's a new sim that I've barely played. I only made her recently. recently. She doesn't manage to get inside. I don't know why she's standing there and not coming in. There's Anne still at the computer. She's the eldest. She's a teen. Genevieve's come home and having a little chat with Petal. Of course, Petal was originally picked by Olivia in my Perfect Genetics Challenge, and she is still in the Perfect Genetics Challenge as well, but I got a copy of her as a toddler and sent her across to live with the Colourful Mermaids. And then when she aged up to child in the Colourful Mermaids household, I put her in the boarding school. But the three little toddlers that I left behind with the Colourful Mermaids, two mermaids, Mary Azul and Sandy Seaworth, and the little fairy, Gavin Flower, they're all still toddlers, but she was a toddler with them, so they're all good friends. They know each other. I never thought of having a water balloon fight inside the house, but there is plenty of room in there. I haven't finished furnishing it yet, but it's probably got enough stuff in it already, especially since we're not actually playing this household. There's Anne, she's gone downstairs. Most of the children in this household are virtuosos, got the virtuoso trait, as has Dan, their father. It's good to see her making progress with her bass playing skill. Back at home, we've got some children here who have come home from school and doing their homework, such as Jeanette Bright, which I've just got to give her a new outfit. She's still in that silly clothes the game gave her when she aged up from toddler at the boarding school in Chocolate Cake Island ages ago. There's Bonehilda into the ice cream. It's an interesting game she's playing on the computer. Here comes Eric. Now remember, Eric is a coward. He's got the coward trait, and he's about to encounter Bonehilda, and that's what cowards do. He saw Bonehilda and he ran away in terror. And it occurs to me that the only place he can do his homework and sit comfortably at a table is in the main part of this room, and Bonehilda hangs out in here as well. And I know in previous boarding schools I've had tables and chairs around the verandas for them, and they sit out there and do their homework, so I thought I might give Eric some more opportunities. Eric has just had a few seeds in her inventory, so I'm getting her to plant them out before I send her off to join the athletic career. She needs to get to level 9 in the athletic career to get her lifetime wish. And Isabel is now getting the gardening skill. She's only about level 1 at gardening. She's got some seeds from getting to level 1. Now this is night time now. They've got the Tree of Prosperity on this lot. It's upstairs on the outside, and the wishing well and the fairies have come to visit. And Eloise has come down to work on her fishing skill in the wishing well. Give us a chance to say hello to the pixies in the wishing well. She'll be working on her gardening skill soon too. So there's the pink Tree of Prosperity. Somebody needs to go and pick that to get a skill. There's a fruit right in the middle of it. Gaylord's reading a recipe book. I've got them all reading recipe books or bait books at the moment. The garden's going okay, needs weeding. Several of them are about to start working on their gardening skill and taking over the garden from Erica. She got it started. She just needed to do a little bit to finish off her gardening skill. She was about level 9.5 when we arrived at this boarding school. She'd been working on it while we were at Chocolate Cake Island. Now she's done it. She doesn't need to do any more gardening. That's Isabel. You can't see the thing above her head to say she's gaining skill, but she is. I make sure they get level 1 gardening skill before I set them to work in the garden, because often I find they can work for days and they never get any gardening skill. It doesn't always happen like that, but it sometimes does. See, I've put extra chairs and tables and things around the verandas now, so Eric has got somewhere to go when Bonehilda is in the kitchen or somewhere. He's got a place where he can retreat to and still do his homework. Isabel's trying to learn a trick with that food processor. I've put things all around this veranda. They're all just checking out the new things that they've just got. Those chairs around that table that you can just see there, those barrel bolt chairs, they were something I got when we used to be able to buy sim points and get a mystery item if you bought a certain number of points. Eric ate a fruit from the Tree of Prosperity and the tree vanished. So I reset the lot. I was going to just replace the tree, but I thought, no, I'll reset the lot first. That was with Master Controller. And the tree came back again, but it just sat there all grey. So I sent Jeanette over to it to get her to admire it, just hoping that that might bring it back to life. And it did suddenly spring to life. I'm not sure if having her admire it had any effect on it or not, but it came back and it's working. Now this is Bailey Swain. She is doing her martial arts. Earlier on I sent her to the Blue Building and she bought some exercise equipment from the exercise equipment shop in the top level. And I put it all in this level in their boarding school, which is the second top floor. And I wondered why she would never go and use it. And also, see that fairy castle? Kylie Flower, she sleeps in the fairy house downstairs and she often wants to go up to the castle, but then she just waves her hands in the air with a routing error. Anyway, I finally checked and I discovered there were no stairs up to that floor, so I added some stairs and now they're all up there. These two are heading off to watch a free game. It's the weekend and they've both got the opportunity. That's Suzanne and Gator. And Harvey Miller's there running off to get in the car to go to work. We'll watch the process of Harvey getting to work because it's quite entertaining. He goes across there, gets in the car, and the car drives up to that position, lets him out, and he runs almost back to the boarding school lot. And then he runs in through the trees to get to his work in the Gypsy Caravan, which is just in behind those trees. He wants to be a celebrity psychic. He's got to get into the scam artist branch of the fortune-telling career. And there he is. He's got to the lot where the Gypsy Caravan is, so he's safely at work. Most of them from the boarding school were in the fortune-telling career, but I've moved everybody out of it except for Harvey, and he's only staying in it because of his lifetime wish. And this will be the end of this video. I do hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give it a like and consider subscribing if you haven't already subscribed and would like to be kept up to date with future episodes. So thank you for watching. Bye bye for now and happy simming.